So hey guys, welcome to another video, and today I want to answer the two most asked questions by every boomkin, essentially, ever. And that is, when does Starfall become better than Starsurge, and when to use your Starsurge procs or Starsurge charges in terms of Eclipse. Now it's actually pretty simple. Starfall, even after the direct damage nerf, is still mental. It scales ridiculously well with Mastery, and that's why it got a direct damage nerf, because it scaled way too much with Mastery. Now I'm in my sort of half resto, half boomkin gear, and I have 54.29 points or percent Mastery, which is pretty good. Now, even if you have 40% Mastery, this still applies to you. If you have 30% Mastery, it's kind of dodgy in terms of Solar Eclipse, but if you are 40 or more, this is how it goes. So, Starfall, ridiculous scaling to a point where in Lunar Eclipse, it's almost better than using Starsurge and empowering your next two Starfires on a single target. It's almost better. Not quite, but almost better. That's how ridiculous Starfall is. Now, assuming that your targets are gonna get hit by all 10 stars, you want to use Starfall on 2 or more targets regardless of Eclipse. Now, there's a misconception that in Solar Eclipse, it's 3 or more targets. That used to be the case in 6.0, before we got a lot of Mastery. Now, even if you're in Solar Eclipse, Starfall is still getting benefit from Mastery. Not as much as if you're in Lunar Eclipse, but it's still benefiting from your Mastery. So as soon as you get to 2 or more targets, and they're gonna get hit by all 10 stars, you're gonna use Starfall. It doesn't matter if you're in Lunar Eclipse, it's gonna do more damage in Lunar Eclipse, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't matter. If you have an abundance of charges, you want to use Starfall all the time. Now, if you don't have an abundance of charges, you want to save it for Lunar Eclipse, obviously, because it does more damage. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have 2 targets, you should not use Starsurge. Alright, if you have a priority target, screw Starfall, screw DPS whoring, just kill the important target. Like on Imperator Margok. You don't want to use Starfall there. First of all, you're gonna kill your raid by killing the exploding ads. And second of all, you really want to use Starsurges and do as much single target damage on the Magi's as possible. Now, if you have 2 targets and they are both equally important, you still want to use Starsurge sometimes. And it's when you have 2 charges and you are either about to get the 3rd one, or you just got a shooting star proc and you got the 3rd one and you are rolling Starfall, you should use Starsurge. Because if you are capped with 3 charges, even for a second or two, that's a potential waste of a charge. Right? First of all, your charges are not recharging, which is bad, but in this 1 or 2 seconds, you could get a shooting stars proc and then it's wasted. You didn't use it, it got wasted. So if you are about to hit 3 charges, or you got a shooting stars proc and you do have 3 charges, use Starsurge as soon as possible. So that's as simple as that. Alright? So 2 or more targets, doesn't matter which Eclipse you are in. Now the second question is when to use Starsurge in terms of Eclipse, and that one is actually really simple as well. Now if you're using Euphoria, which is for single target, and that's where you're gonna use your Starsurges, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna show you why. Okay, let's get Euphoria. Let's just cast some spells. Even if I do something like this, I'll just wait for it. Alright, let's get to the peak. Even if you do something like this, it doesn't matter. It's not a waste. Because Starsurge is getting buffed from both. It does Spellstorm damage, which is arcane and nature, so it's always going to do the same amount of damage. If I do this, alright, that's 50% mastery, that's 100% mastery. You can't really micromanage this. Of course, you can do more damage if you're more careful, alright, but overall, in a boss fight, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. Alright? It just doesn't. It's as simple as that. It does not matter. Because you are still getting some bonus from mastery. It doesn't matter. Because in a boss fight, you have to move, you have to deal with certain mechanics, you can't stand in a fire, or you can't get hit by a train, so you have to move, and it's always going to shift. And if you try, this is the bad thing, if you try to use your Starsurge at the perfect time, you're going to fuck up something else. I guarantee it. If you try to use Starsurges in the optimal times, at the optimal times, you're going to fuck something else up. Alright? And it's usually going to kill you. Unlike Darmak, you might get hit by the breath, because you're like, okay. In 3.2 seconds, I have to cast Starsurge. No. Don't cap on Starsurge procs, just use them. Just use them. Alright? It doesn't matter when you use them. Now with Balance of Power, some of you might say, you have to be more careful. No, because Balance of Power is a talent you're going to use on AoE. And if you're using Balance of Power on AoE, you're not using Starsurges. You are using Starfalls. There you go. So Starfall on 2 or more targets, and Starsurge whenever. It doesn't matter. Because you have to move. Sometimes you have to move, and it's going to screw you over if you're like, okay, I'm going to use Starsurge now because I can get it to hit at 100, and the second one is going to hit at 100 as well. You can't do that. You can't always do that. And if you try, you're just going to cripple yourself. It's not going to help you. It's going to hurt you bad. Alright? It's as simple as that. Now, there are a couple of things, a couple of tricks. If you have to move a lot and you can't stand still for a long period of time, it's just better to use Starfall in Lunar Eclipse. So just say I have to move throughout the entire Lunar Eclipse or something, and I have to do things, right? You have to move, you have to run around like a douche. Then just use Starfall and spam your dots. Spam Moonfire and Sunfire. Alright, it's better than using the empowerment and then not being able to do anything with it. Alright? And just one more question that kind of gets added about Celestial Alignment. Use it in Lunar Eclipse. And that, as they say, is that. I thank you all for watching. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.